Hi and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some Christmas ideas for toddlers. So if you enjoy this type of content, other homeschool and lifestyle content, please remember to subscribe and let's get into it. All right, so if you've been following our family, you know that we are not actually here at home. We are in Africa right now when this video is coming out. But I pre-filmed a bunch of Christmas content just to share some different gifts and stuff. It was a little easier for some of the things to film them before we left. Some of the stuff will still be filmed while we're in Africa because I just can't get it all done before we leave. But I thought it would be easier with toddlers especially to be able to show you a few of the things. So I'm going off of mostly what my almost 4-year-old and my 2-year-old like. I have a boy and a girl. I have 4 older kids. And so some of these things they've also gone through and liked. You know, we've had to get new things because we have a big gap between the oldest 4 and the youngest 2. And so we got rid of some of the stuff. But my older kids, these are things that they would have liked as well. And since we're a homeschool family, most of these things are more educational or STEM or hands-on like building items. I don't really like to just buy a whole bunch of toys that make noise. That is not like, those are the quickest ones to just leave because I can't stand them. And I don't like all the pieces of some toys, like they just get lost everywhere and stuff. And so I'd rather have educational items that they can pull out, build something and it be useful that way than just a whole bunch of like random noise making toys, even dolls. None of my kids have really enjoyed playing with dolls. And so just those kind of things I usually don't get. So I'm gonna show you several items here. Some of them, I think most of them I have right here. There's a few I'll just have to tell you about, maybe pop a picture up on the screen, but I'll link everything that I can down below. So the first thing I wanted to tell you about, I'm not actually gonna pull out because it would have been hard to see anyways, but they're magnet tiles, but not just any magnet tiles. First of all, magnet tiles or Picasso tiles are great in any form. Like just magnets generally are so great. Kids love to play with them. These ones have a track down the middle. I don't know if you can kind of see that there's a groove in here. We got these last year, I believe, for Christmas, and my 3-year-old loves them. He loves them so much. They have little cars that come with them, so they have a little piece, I don't know, that on the bottom of the car that fits in the track. So it rides down the track and it's just super cool. And you can build all sorts of things with them. They have little like pillar stands basically. So you can have it raised and have little ramps that go down. And he has loved them so much, right? There's different pieces. So these ones have grooves that go both ways. So you could put them and like change the direction of the track or things like that. And I just grabbed out a few pieces, but he has loved those so much, so much. If we weren't gone, I probably would have looked into another option for him because it's something that he plays with. He always asks me, can I pull up my track? I really want to play with my track. And it's like his favorite thing ever. Something else that gets pulled out a lot with the track are just these big blocks. Legos, they're not Legos. I don't even know what they're called. Good thing Amazon knows what they're called. And I'll look them up and put them down. But they're like the bigger size of a Lego or whatever. And something that I like that I got as well with this is, I think this is from Inspire My Play. They do sensory like bins, and then they have like little tools you can use for the sensory bin, but they sell this mat. So it's a circle because it fits inside their sensory bin. But I just put it in with these and it has the teeny little ones on this side for like small Legos. And then it has the bigger attachments on this side, which is for these types of blocks, right? And this size is really good for young kids. First of all, they're not super teeny to be putting their mouths. Maybe for small kids, they could still put some of these in their mouths. But if they're kind of past that stage, my 2-year-old rarely puts anything in her mouth anymore, then they can play with these. And they can put them on this mat, right? And build stuff. It's kind of hard when I'm holding it up. But they pull this out all the time and build tons of things. And you can sometimes find, you know how they sell the like classic Lego sets with all the different colors? Sometimes they have that for these as well. Even at like Costco or Sam's Club. This one I think I got off of Amazon, but it's fun too with all the different colors. You can use it for them to sort colors. Like if you had just different containers or a big sensory bin or something that was divided, they could sort the different colors of the Legos out. That's a really good learning opportunity for them. They can just build stuff, you know, using those fine motor skills can be really hard and frustrating sometimes for them, but it's really good for their learning. So there's lots of great things you could do just with this bin of blocks. Another great option is basically anything from learning resources. They have a range of ages that they cater to, but one of the things my kids have loved for years, we got this, I think when my 8-year-old was a toddler, and we used it for her, and then I had found out I was pregnant before we got rid of it, so we had kept it and everything, and now my youngest 2 kids love to play with it. But I like learning resources stuff a lot of times because it'll come with like a paper that gives a whole bunch of different options for activities. A lot of times there's not just like one thing to do with it, there are several different options. So this one has vegetables, they're different colors. They can sort them by color. They can put them in row according to vegetable, you know, so the vegetables are different colors. So this is corn, broccoli, and onion. And so there's lots of different ways to sort them. You can put up these little tags at the back that one of them says like 3. So then they have to just put 3 in the row. It might have put just only carrots. So they have to go through and figure out which one are the carrots. Even though they're different color of carrots, they have to figure out which ones are carrots. And so there's lots of different things. This one shows just red. So get the red ones. There's lots of different options of things you can do with it. And that's something I love about it. My kids honestly just love to pull it out and play with the vegetables and sort them into the different bins. That's super fun for them. So that's one option. Another thing we have from learning resources that I'll just mention now is these gems. They're kind of hard to see, but this is something my little kids love a ton. So there's these little gems that come, they can go together like this, and then it has a little groove right here. It has a little chisel. And so you put it in this hole and they can hit just this, or it comes with a hammer, which is something that little kids love, and they fight over it. But inside, they're color coordinated. So the colors go together, but then they also have the gems that are color coordinated. So this gem, if you're matching colors, would not go inside this one. But it's also a heart shape, and the different gems are different shapes. And so again, there's multiple steps of learning that can go on with these things besides just playing with them, which is a lot of times what happens. They just play with them. But if you wanted to use it as more of a preschool-y type thing, then there's lots of ways to use it. Something else I wanted to mention that we just barely got, but I already put it in a suitcase and I was not gonna dig through and figure out where it was, are the wiki sticks. They're those, if you're unfamiliar, I'll try to put a picture over here, but they're like those little sticky sticks, strings. They look kind of like a string, but almost like a stick. And you can shape them. They're like waxy filling a little bit. I recently got one that was from Amazon that's like in a trio set of learning. So there's like ABCs and numbers. I believe there's like cards in it, and then they have to form their little stick because they bend really easy and shape into things. You shape it into the letters of the alphabet or numbers or things like that. And so that could be a really fun thing. They have tons of wiki sticks. There's not just ones for ABCs. There's lots of different options. And so if you go on Amazon and just type it in, there's a billion. But I'll link those ones down below so that you can check them out as well. But I'm taking them with us to Africa because I think it'll be a great little tool for my littles to use while we're trying to do schoolwork. Another thing that my toddlers love are these like math cubes. I have a couple different brands here. I don't remember what this one is, but these ones remind me more of the ones I would have used in elementary school. They are just have the little circle and the little peg that goes in, and they stack up. And my kids love, we rarely use these for math, like for actual math for my older kids. My younger kids have always just loved to build things with them because you can stick this in like sideways, right? And you can create different things out of them. And that's really fun. These ones are nice because the peg actually stays in really, really well. The ones that we have more of and that we've had for longer are these ones, which is learning resources again. And you can have kids sort them into colors right besides building. These ones have shapes on them on the different sides. So these ones stick together, but they sometimes come apart a little easier. So I feel like that's the nice thing about the other ones. But these are also easier for little kids to take apart because they come apart a little easier. But they also have a lot of sets. So this one came in a set that does some different math things or measuring, like measure this yarn right here and you put the cubes out. I have this one I'm not taking with us to Africa. I don't think my littlest kids are ready for this type of math yet. But I am taking one that has some simpler math things that they really enjoy. And then I also am taking one that's for my older kids, if you're interested in that, that has like logic puzzles and stuff on it. So I thought that would be a lot of fun for them. So I think this is just a great option. It is also something that's easy to take with you, like in a bag or even to church, and it's a quiet item, so they could sit there and play with it. Another thing that's newer to us is this little bin. I don't even know how to say this name. Is it Clixo? I have no idea. It's the CLIXO. But these are a lot of fun. I feel like if you have younger toddlers, then be a little careful because they could rip this. It's very thick, like plasticky material. So they'd have to try really hard, but sometimes my 2-year-old is not as careful with them. She has yet to actually rip one, even though she has tried or she's been a little aggressive with them. So just FYI, but I think they're great for slightly older toddlers or ones that maybe aren't ripping things. But they're magnets again. Kids love magnets. Adults love magnets. My husband loves magnets. You know, they're just so fascinating and fun. And so these little circles right here are magnets, and you can build things with them. So you can turn these ones into like little balls, right? You just kind of fold them and make this like little gem. And so there's little instructions in here, which are ripped because they're made out of paper, but they give different options. Obviously kids can be creative. There's one for a robot, and there's lots of different pieces in here. There's even a few like longer ones. It's hard to tell, they're all magnetized together, but these, so you can like make bracelets out of them and stuff like that. But my kids have really enjoyed playing with these, even my bigger kids. And so if you just have any age of kids, I feel like they'd be great. Another simple fun thing is just these sensory boards. I mentioned that I got several of these a few months ago, and I have a couple that we haven't used yet that we are taking to Africa. This one my kids like because it's double-sided. Again, even my older kids love these things, but they like it because then you can wrap the string around to the other side, and that's fun for them. So I have this kind of one, and then there's also this one. This one's a little bit more solid, and it doesn't have like the other side. So sometimes for the, like my 2-year-old, this is a little bit harder because it's not as flexible for her to pop them out. But my almost 4-year-old can do this just fine. But these are really fun. I take them to church. It keeps them occupied. My older kids like to tie them in like little knots and stuff like that. So there's lots of fun things you can do with them. Very simple, inexpensive. That's kind of the goal too here, is most of these things aren't crazy expensive. There might be a few obviously that are bigger ticket items, but a lot of them are fairly cheap, and these are the things my kids play with the most. So those are a really good option. Something else that could be really fun is these rainbow pebbles. My kids play with these off and on. They go through like moods, I think, you know, as all of us do. But this is also great for sorting, like if you had it in a sensory bin, because there's such bright colors. They also have cards in here, like that they could build stuff, right? Like start with this bigger one and then build a tower. But I love, they're not like actual stones or rocks. They're like I don't know, they almost feel like a silicone material, but they can build stuff with them. They're very bright colors and stuff, so that would be great for learning colors and for sorting them out. And so that's another fun option. And then something else that my kids pulled out yesterday, actually, for the first time in a while, is these flowers. This is just a random bin. This is not the bin they came in. But they're these fun little flowers. They come with all the different parts. I cut this off the box so we could keep it. But it has like the little base they go in. It has the different flower pieces. It tells you here what all the parts are. So this is great for older kids too. If you're talking like doing some sort of botany unit or whatever, you could go through and talk to them about the different parts of flowers and have them build them. But my little kids love to just build them. It's super fun for them. So that's also just a fun, simple thing for them to pull out that keeps them occupied for a while. And it's pretty simple for them to play with. All right, I just have a few more things to mention. My stuff is starting to disappear, which is nice because this table was full of things. But we're coming back to magnets again. I have 2 different things for magnets because they're just so fun. The first one is this magnet puzzle, which my 3-year-old loved these way more than I thought he would. So they're magnetic, and then underneath the puzzle is a picture of what it's supposed to look like, which I think is so helpful for young kids trying to learn how to do puzzles. They always want to, but doing a huge puzzle can be very overwhelming for them. At least it has been for my kids. And so him having the picture right behind it and just being able to match the pieces and then them being magnetic is so nice. Because then they don't go anywhere, right? You can put them down, they can stay, and then also you can travel with this. This is another great thing to like take to church or in the car, because yes, you might still drop some pieces, but it stays here once they put it on there because it's magnetic. And then the other magnetic thing I wanted to mention are these blocks. And something important to note about these blocks is they come in different sizes. I don't know if they come bigger than this size, but they do come smaller. We have the smaller ones. And I first had seen them at my parents' house. And so I came home and ordered some, not realizing they were going to be the smaller blocks. And my kids, if they're still like 1-ish, which is how old my 4-year-old was at the time, my 3-year-old, who knows how old, he's almost 4. So it's like weird to say that he's 3, but also he's not 3.5. He's like almost 4. So anyway, but he was like 1 at the time. And everything was still going in his mouth. And these ones are small enough that that's not good. And he was putting them in his mouth. These ones are big enough that that's not the case. So eventually I found these ones on Amazon. And again, they might have other sizes too. I'm not really sure. But I just grabbed a few of these. These are in a bin with all of our toys. But they love playing with these, building stuff. We have 2 sets so that they have a lot. And now they're pulling these ones out more because they're big enough that they don't put stuff in their mouths anymore. So just those types of magnets are also a lot of fun for them. The last thing I wanted to mention is just sensory bins generally. I have mentioned these so many times before that I was like, oh, should I mention them or should I not? But I figured I'd just put it here on the end. These ones are from Young, Wild, and Friedman. They have a lot of fun ones. They make really good Christmas gifts or stocking stuffers. They have smaller ones. They also, there's Knowledge Crates. Is that what it's called? Knowledge Crate. They have subscriptions, but they also have different like sensory bins as well. So that's another option. I'll try to link those 2 websites down below. You can create your own. There's a lot of options out there for different companies that create some sort of sensory bin, or you could gather stuff on Amazon for your own creation as well. But these ones are a lot of fun. They usually have a theme. This is an Easter one. I didn't even look to which one I was grabbing. But at Christmas, they usually have a lot. So this one is like bunnies and just Easter generally. They have one that's Christ-focused Easter, and we have that one as well. They have Christmas. So they have just a general like fun Christmas one that's more of a nativity one. They, I think, have done a Hanukkah one in the past. I'm trying to remember. There's several for the different holidays. So, and some of the stuff does sell out quickly. So I don't even know what's available when I'm posting this, but you don't even have to get ones related to the holiday, right? They have ones for dinosaurs and tractors and stuff like that, princesses. So there's a variety of options that you could pick from. They are a little bit more expensive, but they come with Play-Doh and lots of fun items to play with, and you can keep reusing the items. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video for some gift ideas for toddlers. Let me know down in the comments some things you like to get for that age group, because it can be a little bit tricky. And remember to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you next time.